Hi y'all, welcome back to Tallulah Talks, and it is Saturday today, which means it is Saturday's haunting hour. Now, before I start this story, I do not have any makeup on. Honestly, I couldn't be bothered. I generally don't wear makeup that much unless I'm going out. I woke up and I was like, nah, can't be bothered today. So moving on from that. Today we are going to be focusing on the true events that inspired the movie The Exorcist. Now, if you don't know what the movie The Exorcist is about, or if you haven't seen it, I haven't seen it, I should probably put it on my watch list. But from what I know, it's about a young girl called Reagan who is, I don't know if she's possessed or haunted by a demon or like an inhuman spirit. And a lot of the events that happen in the movie actually happened in real life. So we are going to be looking into the events that inspired this movie. So book of stories as usual. And the young boy who all this happened to, he is commonly known as Roland Doe. I don't think that's his real name. There's like 3 or 4 different names that people gave him. I don't think anyone knows his actual name. But let's get started on Roland Doe. So, in the late 1940s, a 13-year-old boy was, him and his family were mourning the death of his aunt who had just passed away. I think they were probably all really close to her. And yeah, they were obviously like very grief stricken by this death. When his aunt was alive, I don't know if she was like a spiritualist or like a medium. She certainly believed in it, and she had taught Roland about that world. And she also taught him how to use a Ouija board, which I have never used one. I never will, for a few reasons. And I mean, if this story doesn't give you the fear of why not to use a Ouija board, that I don't know what will. So the family, I think in the future, when events began to happen, had told priests that strange things began happening around the home right after the aunt's death. In January 1949, the family reported hearing like strange dripping noises. They would hear scratching sounds, and Roland's mum actually believed that it was the dead aunt, because obviously she had just recently passed, and this only began happening once she had died. The family then made the mistake of trying to contact the aunt. I guess they just wanted to know that she was okay, and if it was her that was trying to communicate with them. They also asked her to stop what she was doing because it was really scaring the family. However, this only made things worse. Roland claimed that he could hear someone walking around in his room, and scratch marks, I think it was 3, were found on his mattress. And then later on, these similar scratch marks appeared on his body. The family at this point were terrified, and because it had gotten to a point where there was like physical marks on their son, they then contacted a local minister who then observed Roland overnight. And he suggested to the family to reach out to the Jesuits, or Jesus. I'm not sure what that is. It's maybe just like another form of Christianity. And the family then converted to Catholicism and tried to have the boy baptized. However, this did not work. Roland reportedly responded pretty violently to this, and it was a lot of rage, and he was then admitted to a psychiatric hospital, but unfortunately this was not successful. The family believed at this point that moving house would maybe stop all of this from happening. So they thought that rather than them being the ones that were being plagued and haunted by this spirit, they believed it, as many people do, that it was to do with the house. But again, that's not the case. They then at this point ran out of options. Unfortunately, things just continued to happen, and they called, I think it was, 2 priests to perform an exorcism. So the priest who came to help was William Bodern, and Bodern actually attempted to protect Roland by putting like a crucifix under his pillow, and he also like said a few blessings just to kind of try and keep away whatever spirit was tormenting this little boy. However, after letting the boy rest, the family then returned home to find the place in just utter chaos. Furniture had been upturned, and the crucifix had actually moved. And when they went up to Roland's room, it was reported that his mattress was shaking uncontrollably. I don't know if he was on the mattress at this point, but it's like an invisible force was like moving the mattress. The priests over time performed many exorcisms, with one of them being done in a Jesuit or Jesuit institution. Again, I'm not sure what that means entirely. It could just be a different form of Christianity. Another took place at the Alexian Brothers Hospital. Again, I don't know if this is to do with the church or if it's a psychiatric hospital, but the important thing is the exorcism took place. While the exorcisms were being performed, Roland would vomit, he would spit, he urinated, and at many times he did also speak Latin. And he didn't know Latin, he had never been taught Latin, so obviously this was quite concerning. He spoke, because remember, this was only a 13-year-old boy, and it was reported that he spoke in a very deep, adult sounding voice at times when the exorcisms were being performed. The final exorcism was conducted with priests Walter Halloran and William Van Roo. At some point during this exorcism, Walter's nose became broken. It didn't say how that happened, so whether it was like an attack from Roland or a spiritual attack like what had happened to Roland earlier, I wasn't sure. It didn't actually say. But after this, the priest claimed that the exorcism was successful. And after the success of this exorcism, his family moved back to the East Coast, and they pretty much lived a normal life. It's basically just reported that they lived out a normal life. Roland grew up, he presumably went to college or university, got a job, had a family, and he lived a pretty normal life. Whether there was some like leftover trauma from this time, again, I couldn't find anything. But obviously during this time, the police and anyone who had observed these exorcisms, like records were kept, and I think there were also like voice recordings, and this was then that one of the priests actually put this into a book, and that book was then known as The Exorcist, and then inspiring the events that happened in the 1973 movie The Exorcist. So it was just a short one today. I did look for as much information as I could. Unfortunately, that was all I could get. But it is quite an interesting story, whether you believe in spirits or not. I personally believe in spirits, and every Saturday I do this. I sit down, I talk about usually something involving the Warrens, because they were paranormal experts back in their day, or I'll talk about hauntings in general, really haunted places. But if you have any stories for me, or if you know of things that have happened, definitely send it my way, and I will do my research and I'll do a video on it. And if this is the sort of content you like, definitely hit that subscribe